with the budget outlook this year, what's the basic storyline, and has it changed any appreciably from last year?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you. Maybe I'll go through a couple of the key points and what's the same and what's different. The big picture is similar to the past, that the U.S. fiscal trajectory is unsustainable, that we have wide deficits out into the future, and that means rising debt. It's not, it's not that we're going to fall off some sort of fiscal cliff at any moment, but over time, there'll be increasing risks to the U.S. economy from the fiscal situation. So that's the case in our report that we just released, and that's similar to what's been shown in the past. Um, some of the highlights within that big picture are the rising impact of net interest payments. So this is the interest that the U.S. pays on the debt, and that's rising and really becoming a large and meaningful share of our budget deficit. So that's in some sense the near-term fiscal challenge, and then the longer-term fiscal challenge is a familiar one, which is from entitlement spending, Social Security, and Medicare, reflecting the aging of our population and excess cost growth in healthcare. So that's kind of the worrisome part. Maybe I'll highlight two things in our report that are some sense a little bit of good news, or at least have hints of good news. So, and first is that legislation enacted last year by the Congress and signed into law by President Biden did improve the fiscal trajectory. Now, this was the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2023, and then the subsequent continuing resolutions that in some sense have implemented some of the deceleration of spending that was in the Fiscal Responsibility Act, the FRA. And so altogether, that improved the 10-year fiscal balance by about $2.6 trillion. Now, there are other things that happened between last year's numbers and this year's. So the net improvement is only $1.4 trillion over 10 years. So it's a lot of dollars. The problem is still large, but there was an improvement in our projections this time. And then just the other thing that is salient in our projections is the impact of the surge of immigration that the United States has experienced since 2022. And we calculate that the labor force, so the number of people working in the United States or available to work in the United States, will be about 5.2 million higher at the end of our 10-year budget window than we thought would be the case a year ago. So that's 5.2 million more people available to work, and that has an impact on the economy and then an impact on the budget.